Okay, I'll go ahead and call the budget committee meeting to order. We do have 7 minutes. May the 29th.
Motion be approved.
Second.
See, did we have a combined? Yeah, you may have not got it all.
Got them the other night.
Okay, sure. So we have for May the 28th and May the 29th.
Yeah.
Motion to approve? So moved. Yes, sir.
Second.
14. Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. This time, if there's any public comments, I'd like to come before the budget committee. Okay. Aaron, you're up.
All right, we don't have a financial report together yet this month because Chief just got the books closed yesterday or today. So he was just at the budgeting. So the first one is for the sheriff's department. They're requesting to remove $3,500 from their maintenance and repair item and the gasoline to get to the end of the year.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions, concerns? All in favor, say aye.
Second budget amendment is funds needed for overtime in the jail. This will not, by the way, go into the continuation budget. So this is basically going to fall off if you pass it this time. We're working on copy budgets to give you. They should be there this minute. But unless you guys want me to go back and change, and I think it's okay just to let them full 60,000 or whatever. I think it's okay just to let them come back. That's next year. If they need a question of room.
Have a motion and a second to approve. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
The next one is additional cost for medical, largely due to increased costs associated with carrying inmates to hospitals. So there was an extensive discussion on it with law enforcement.
Second. Motion and a second. Motion. Diane. Any questions or comments need to be made regarding this?
I know the answer, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. We've exhausted all options about paying this bill. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Fair bit.
We got to pay our bill.
Question, Mr. Chairman. So I know Chairman Curtis had brought up about the percentage of possibly the discount, if this we'll call it, for property tax or tax break that they're getting. Have we know the numbers and what they're getting, the discount they're receiving?
I don't have it with you, but I did look it up back when we were having the discussion earlier on in the negotiation. I sent that over there and saying, hey, you're getting this break on the property tax as kind of a leverage to get better percentages. But I had that in my office and I told Chris I would give him that list number, which I think is in your budget.
Please, if you would, that'd be great.
Can you get one more number clear? It's not really going to do. What did they discounted us in the last 12 months?
Well, yeah, they
What
discounted
was
us
the total discount, they have discount?
on as far as charging goes.
For inmate, medical.
Mr. Jones, prior to Vanderbilt start to January of 23, we had 25% discount. And in January 23, they went to 60, 65%, depending on what the bills were across the board. Used to, we got Pandora bills from different vendors. Now, when Vanderbilt took over January 23, they combined all their services under one billing process. So ER doctors, any type of reads, ER, inpatient, outpatient, what have you. We were able, January 23 to November 30th, we paid all of our bills at 60%. Starting December 1, 23 up to date, with this money that you're approving tonight, we'll pay all of those bills at 45%.
But what I'm trying to get at, I don't know if it goes very much. I'm certainly in they have collected any property taxes. They do, but have they discounted more than they would owe? Would they paid the property tax?
I would gladly,
That's the question I'm trying to get.
what you're asking is how much they've discounted over the past year.
Well,
Since they've been here, but I'll gladly get you the
Well, so
numbers.
what I'm saying, I mean, that, because I guess they go around and say, look, you want to charge property taxes, well, you get 100%.
So you compare what they've already given us to what property taxes. I'll get you that figure. Either the mayor gets that.
Yes, sir.
So I think it goes deeper than that though, Tommy, because like Medicare reimbursement is 27 to 33%. So we're being asked even at the 60% levels, we can't have insurance. So the inmates are basically, they could say you owe us 100%. Yes, they could. But reimbursement from Medicare is just somewhere between 27 and 33%, and they take that.
But what
So-
I'm asking is, what is the difference in what they discounted us?
Yeah,
What they
I'm
have
gonna
to
assume that probably the discount's gonna be greater than what the property taxes are. I mean, I think if you just look at the amount, but that's beside the point. And that's just county property tax. That doesn't include equipment and all those other taxes. So it may creep up there to the same amount, and that's why I'm in favor of
Well, that's what I'm saying.
going somewhere else instead of a community hospital.
I mean, that's why I'm asking for the numbers, so we'll know what we're doing.
I'll get you the amount of money that they discounted since July of last year. Is that what you're asking?
Well,
I'll take care of that.
thank you.
I'll send it to everybody.
Anything else?
One more question. So we have an inmate that has to go like ER, say we decide that we're not going to use Vanderbilt Wilson. Do they have a right to choose their medical provider if they're in custody?
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Next one is for WEMA, just to transfer Homeland Security Grant, fiscal year 2023 funds to people paying violence.
Motion.
Thank you.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
And the next one is also WEMA to provide annual pass-through funds for the payment of the state firefighters education one incentive.
Motion approved.
Have a motion and a second to approve. Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Opposed?
Have a lease agreement in there for Dex Imaging for 63 months at $357 a month. Seamless. 63, it said number of months, 63. Yep.
Motion approved.
Second. Have a motion and a second to approve leasing. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
A grant in here for drug court for $120,000. I think Paula may be here if you have any specific questions about it. She asked me earlier. There she is. No match. No match, correct, Paula?
Correct.
Correct. Motion approved.
So,
Have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Sorry, flip back to page one. And surplus list from the county mayor's office.
So moved.
Did you use this somewhere in this? Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve surplus list. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
I'm gonna ask Mike Owen to do the report on the, here. Yeah,
Jay's standing out there as well.
see if I can find it.
Maybe no.
Chairman, before y'all get into that, you know, we'll get to the scoop one, but
Sure.
they won't take it from there. 30 seconds.
thank you.
All right, move this thing along. Okay, here's, let's use this.
First line item is we received additional allocation for our transportation for revenue and then related expenses. Our KISS Club would like to purchase laptops and printers, so we're just moving that from equipment, machinery parts to equipment. Instructional technology would like to spend for some equipment, moving that line item. We received Dell Tech revenue, so just reporting that revenue and related expenditure line item. And then to adjust for actual expenditures that we anticipate to be coming. Just those budget line items.
Motion approved.
Second.
Have a motion and second to approve amendment 24-13. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Yes, sir.
I didn't mention.
I'll give you matches. You will.
We say, just real quick, that the choice, had the opportunity to have Michael and work with us on this project, and the choice was a really good one. And I want to thank him for all his efforts. There were several people that worked on the project with him, myself included. But he was the point person on the project. And I think he did a fantastic job. So I asked him if he would present because he was the point person and did a great deal of work. So.
All right, I know you all have the report here in front of you, but I'm gonna, if it's okay if I take, I'm gonna explain the process, so it might help any question that you might have. So in keeping with the, what the Board of County Commissioners requested, which was an asset reconciliation of technology over $500. That's what it stated. We did a very thorough job. It took a little time. I know the resolution said you wanted it as soon as possible. And some of your terms, that means they wanted it yesterday. But we were not able to get it yesterday, but we got it as soon as we could. There were 318 items that were identified that fit criteria that had to be checked. So let's go back to how this all starts. So what happens is we would go into Skyward, we would pull purchase orders, invoices, and so forth from each department that was identified. You guys identified 16 different departments, and then at the end, I think you decided that we want to do 15 because WEMA has their own system, much like the sheriff's office system has. Once we identify all those, and we go through and try to match from each department these assets that were $500 and over, and then we'll spreadsheet them out and by individual offices, and then we'll conduct a hands-on inventory. I am not a person of technology. I'm not very smart when it comes to technology. So it took me a while to do a little research to figure out actually what I'm looking for. Okay? When I hear things or read things that say gaming cards or gaming computers, I kind of scratch my head like, we're playing games or what are we doing? And I did not know. But after researching, I understand what they were. I used some outside resources. I did not use any resources here within the county to ask specific questions about how things function, what I should be looking at in order to make a determination. I'm looking at what they're telling me I'm looking at. Okay. I used the 118th SF Joint Base, Berry Field, their communications section and their cyber intelligence section. Very knowledgeable. They gave me a great, just about a day tutorial of everything. And I have more knowledge than I really want to have now about technology, but they were very helpful. So when it came time to put hands on them, I knew what I was looking for. All the departments involved, some had as little as 2 pieces of technology. One had 0, but we'll talk about that one in a minute. And the biggest one was IT. They had 193 pieces of technology, dating back from 2019 to current 2024. When we were looking at these, all 15 departments report, we found everything that we were looking for. 14 of the departments, offices, they had 100% accountability. If you look back there, IT only had, and this is what I'm going to talk to you a little bit about. IT had missing 17 out of the 193. Missing 17 items. Now, when I mean missing 17 items, let's talk about these 17 items. They were dated back 2019, 2020. A couple things were happening back then. One was COVID. Things were different as far as ordering. People were taking ordering from home, not working, and so forth. But all the real sensitive items back in those years were accounted for. The 17 items that weren't accounted for that I cannot determine were items that were surplus. So I can't say that they weren't surplus. I can't say that they were surplus. I'm unable to determine. And that reason being is there's nothing wrong with the surplus protocol that we have in place during those times. But if we're going to be more accountable, then it has to change some. For instance, digging through the storage building out there were 40-some items of surplus that were located that were supposedly, maybe possibly sold for surplus or traded for surplus. But they weren't, all of them. Some of those items were from IT that were missing that we accounted for. When you have an auction that says, when I pull all the surplus auction that says, this guy's auctioning all this stuff, making whoever's doing it, and they list 7 computers. Okay? That's all this is, 7 computers. I don't know what kind of computers, make, model, serial numbers. So when IT says, hey, we surplus these computers here, I'm sure they did. I cannot match that with these because there's no numbers, there's no identification. So when I go pull the surplus in finance, who Ms. Shelley takes care of, sure enough, there's 7 computers that were sold. Okay, there's a little yellow sticker that says sold, and it has C for county, S for school system. That's just it. It just says computer. Don't know what kind of computer, don't know anything about it. So I'm not saying that they are not surplus, and I'm not saying they're surplus. I'm just saying I can't determine whether they're surplus or not. But I've addressed that problem or not problem, but I addressed that concern in this report about how maybe we can better do the surplus. And in February, the finance department, along with Aaron Wilson IT, they established the Blue Tower system, which is a system much similar to the Sheriff's Department and Asset or Lien system. And they've recently started tagging items, which is great, because now they're going to be in your system, and they're going to be able to be tracked. And we take a look at what's coming down the road with what Deputy Director LaRhonda Horton has put together, and Director Mayor's put together. I think it's going to be a lot more conducive as far as how we do surplus and be able to track things. Every office was given a copy of everything that was done, including a spreadsheet that was developed of their assets. And most of them didn't have serial numbers, any kind of identification on it, which we added those in now. So from this point forward, every office, those 15 offices, has a spreadsheet, has a list of their assets, okay? And they can track it if they will. So if they surplus them, or if they continue to keep them, and use them, what have you, they have something to go by, and it's going to help with the accountability of the assets that we have. Overall, the county had a 65% accountability of assets, which I think is outstanding. And like I said, the IT section, there's 17 that are missing. These are things that were dated back in 2019, 2020. So, you know, when I'm doing this, you kind of got to look at fraud, waste, and abuse just a little bit. And when you don't have anything current that's missing, you kind of have a pretty good feeling about, hey, we're doing okay, we're tracking our equipment, and there's no indication that, you know, there's any kind of fraud, waste, or abuse. There's some things that you just can't, to be brutally honest with you, because if you have questions, I know the big gaming card thing came up, and it's not really a gaming card, it's a graphic card. I understand what it's used for. And I want to know how I can identify it. So the PEG individual, his name's Joe, he assisted me. I said, hey, show me what one of these are. Let's take this apart, see how long it takes to take it apart, and let's pull it out and take a look here. Okay. So we did, and there's a little white tag on it that says SN number here, serial number here. So you take the tag off, there's no serial number. There's no numbers, there's no identification, there's no number. Okay. So that's the problem that they have when you come in with getting stuff from Amazon and different places. They don't have numbers. I mean, we track it. I just know that this is it. This is the graphic card. This is where it says it's supposed to be, and it is. But it's hard to identify when you don't have any numbers. But there's no reason to believe that that's not the graphic card that we're looking at. Okay? Buildings. Robert Baines does a fantastic job. I did not find any items out of the 470 some he's ordered over the past few years that met this criteria. He's ordered everything from soap cleaning supplies, bug pest controls, everything. But there was an item, okay, and it's a motherboard for HAVC air conditioning that's sitting at the top of one of these buildings. So I put on there he had 0 because I think in the spirit of what you were asking for, I don't think you really wanted us to climb on top of that building, shut down that unit just to see if there's a motherboard in there, and if we could possibly find a number that matches anything, but we don't have a number. It's in there because it wouldn't be operated if it didn't have it. So that's why when you look in there, he doesn't have any assets. He doesn't, but he does have some assets in his office, and the 2 monitors that are downstairs that Deputy Bueller uses for security. We did add those to him, so he's accountable for it, and he's tracked. That's pretty much about it. I just want to know we made a diligent search for everything. It took some time. Everybody was very helpful, very open and receptive to it. And I just hope in the future that we can go forward. Let's keep this surplus, maybe a few changes that they're going to make, and you keep that going, and you keep everybody involved, and that means elected officials and appointed officials, if we can keep them involved in this process. It's like anything else that's new. Oh man, this is something new. Okay, it just takes a minute, but once this is completed, I don't think you'll have an issue with any of this. If you had an issue beginning, I don't know.
So the list of items, serial number and asset tag on a on the list
Yes, sir.
somewhere. That department is the only department that has to keep up with it, or is there a centralized office that needs a copy of that?
What we talked about in here was we need to establish a centralized tracking system, which they have, and it started, it's called Blue Town. So, in theory, what we would do is each office would keep track of their, like, 4 computers. And annually, they would, do a self-inspection, and they would up-channel that to finance, for a finance committee approval, or involved in the process.
Yeah, with finance committee will ultimately determine, I think, the level of division. They may stick with $500 or whatever, but I think they will determine. I think he said, somebody, it was Wendell, I'm sorry, it was Wendell that said the school system, you tag everything that's $100 or great.
Yes.
So, the finance committee, I think, would be responsible for setting that number, whatever it is. Maybe we don't have that many of them being an accountant. The first thing I think of is 10 key calculators. I hope we don't get to the level where we're going around tagging 10 key calculators. But if that's what y'all want to do, that's what we'll do.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Dealing with technology, since it was a 17, the number that we're given, do we know the value amount that's unaccounted for, the dollar amount by the chance of the PO would recommend show?
Yes, that, in fact, this is all kept in the file, individual file, which is available in finance, all the worksheets, spreadsheets, most of the purchase orders, invoices. If they're not, there is a purchase order on there, we can look it up in Skyward, but yes. Dollar amount, I do not know off the top of my head, I'm sorry.
But that information is
Yes,
available.
Probably a total of, I guess, whatever, it's a full total of, considering, I think, Germany.
I think in my mind, to add to what Mike was saying, whether it's people in our benefits, our insurance department, whether it's our fixed asset person, in conjunction with IT, to me, it's not going to be up to that office on its own. As we scan stuff, it's supposed to have a barcode on it so that we can walk out with a barcode scanner. And anything that is not there, at the end of the day, we're going to be able to identify. If it's been declared surplus, fine. But we're going to come up with a sheet that's going to be a little bit more thorough than what people have filled out in the past when they're disposing of electronics. Not a lot I can do about box of random cords. We get a lot of stuff like that. But if you're disposing of a computer, I need the model, the serial number.
They're expensive.
I need to know what exactly it is that we're disposing of. And I want to say that is, the system that we have is a system that's been in place, I don't know how many years. It needs to adapt, it needs to change.
All of them important too. Take that out.
And Commissioner Smith, we made a recommendation to house technology surplus items separate from everything else. Better track, like the storage shed, they were not aware of. They weren't aware of anything in it, and they weren't. Yeah, several things. So, I mean, if we can store those, or if you can store those separately, a whole lot more easier than invoice, inventory when it comes time for surplus.
If I can ask a question for their benefit, how would you rate the cooperation you receive from the various departments that you work with?
Everybody bent over backwards. They were ecstatic about it. No problems.
You scared?
No, I did not. Try not to. No, they were very cooperative.
Question for you. Is this going will this affect anything with our audit? We have an audit knowing where we're at, because obviously we have a great number of 96% accounted for, but with us not having yes, we are now implementing, we are,
So the answer is, I don't think so. First off, the auditor can be considered in material. So they are not interested in, they might report it if it was, you know, a certain number. But when you're talking about something probably, and I don't have the number anymore in mind, that's because I didn't look myself. But it's not going to be material to what they look at, and just something that auditors typically concern themselves with. If they say something about it, I would expect it to be a discussion item only.
And if it was, this is, I don't know, would they be concerned with something 5 years ago?
No, I mean, they would never dig this deep. I mean, you know, if we will tell them what we did. They would never dig that deep going back. I mean, again, it's one thing if we had, I'm trying to think of, if a major piece of equipment was missing from the road department, that might be something that they were interested in terms of being material. You know,
And on that.
depending on the value. Yeah.
One of the parameters of this, it's anything, Mike was looking for anything that was initially cost $500 or more. And there was only 17 pieces that was unaccounted, not been able to reconcile. You're talking about a maximum of $34,000 over 5 years.
It's still,
Yeah.
it's because he's by the book.
Yeah. But again, I think y'all can tell, I hope you can, what a thorough and really good job that Mike did. I may make my share of bad decisions, but I really feel like that was a good look, and I appreciate his work.
You really did it. This is going to be long.
Come back, I hope.
Okay, is there any other discussion?
I'm sorry, just one last thing. I just want to say that I know with this lot, but in my mind, which is a very small mind, there are 28 there's 28 offices in this county. I didn't really realize that. And you got 3 guys that are responsible over an IT, and if you really think about it, that's really good for having the accountability for things over the past 2 years at least, 3 years. Okay. I think when it first started, it was a one-man shop. So, you know, I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
Yeah. Good.
Okay, if there's no other discussion, we need a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comment or questions? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
And the question now, y'all want this report to the vacuum, so everybody can see it.
Sure.
Yes.
Hey, Mayor?
Got just a few things. One is Central Pike Road, Watson. TDOT has asked to buy some property from us. The length is 105 feet.
Fire station.
From the fire station. And the depth varies from 7 foot to 31 foot. This is kind of the best diagram I just got this today that I can offer you. I got documents here, and I guess they've offered $20,000 with this piece of property right away. So how do I need to address this? Mike, I need permission to let me look at the contract and just body approve or county commission approve taking the $20,000 for the property.
What TDOT usually does is has an appraisal. You know, we got into this on a little sliver of land out on one on that. And they usually do an appraisal and then
Listen, I'm gonna tell you this, and whatever comes up, they'll increase it 10% if you ask. If you do more, they have to take it back through the process. We ain't done that here. How they proposing that? Who's
So, you know, speaking of the other property, we got our money, we got more money because this group here hired that other, Vandenberg to do it, and so we did, I'll try to bring that to you next time, how much more we got, but it's a lot more than what we paid to get that. They just sent these documents today for us to consider, so I guess I was asking, you, we asked permission, this group give me any permission to move forward this and bring back some details. I didn't know how to do it, I guess my question.
usually they condemn the property and start that process, but if they want, this will be a quicker one.
Yeah, we just want you to sign it. I've done it twice already.
Yeah.
At the house and the home.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just following.
So if the group is okay with taking 20,000 for the property that's 105 feet long and 7 to 31 feet deep in different areas here, then if they're okay with that, then we can process the documents and move on.
Mayor, can I see that map?
Yeah, it's.
I got a question. I think that's what I own there, but I won't.
No, so you're about to.
I got, yes, I was gonna go with that. What's gonna happen with our sleeve for our sewer? Because I know that
I have to bring it.
we've got a sleeve.
So when we did the sleeve and all of the work out there, we went ahead and remembered and found out the width of the road.
Yes.
That's what took us some time because they had to relocate the water line was there.
The new road.
So we prepared for the growth of the road ahead of time. And so it's not in.
So the sleeve's not in the right of way.
No, it's not that. And the, if you remember, growing up on Blake, what are you to, with Blake? So Blakely, if you remember, we were trying to negotiate there because they were charging more money to bring their extra line over, so they wouldn't have to do it when the road was different. So that has to, so they were prepared for this ahead of time with our utilities. Commissioner Hobbs, I will get you.
Is this a condemnation or an offer?
It's an offer right
Already
now.
purchased, no condemnation. They just found the right way up so they can use it.
They're making the rounds.
Do we do what we did with online and had it appraised?
You could pay to have that appraised. You could say, this not as big a property as we had over in 109.
That's the question.
They don't take into account your appraisal. They do their own, they'll pick 2 or 3 other places and pick an appraisal, don't have anything to do with it usually, and throw you a price that's ridiculous, and you have to accept it. If not, it will come.
Well, the last one we did on the property down on 109, and they gave us a price, and it's about a year, so hey, we thought it worth more. We hired Taylor Vandenberg here, he went out and did his survey, come back and re-petition, and we got money.
Now, that was a condemnation.
It was, yes, yeah.
I think.
It's a little different than this.
I was just
So
saying,
you said we can ask them for more money in this one.
Yeah, you can.
I just remember one on that, what did the offers like 10,000? We went back after and got like 30-something thousand.
Got a bunch.
It was,
We wound up getting right at 40,000.
Yeah, that's right.
But I think they offered more than that, it's like 19, or it was an odd number.
It was not, yeah, there's quite a bit more we got for it.
But,
Anyway,
okay.
You know, never take the first offer, then they'll keep going.
so that's what I'm hearing. What you guys want to do?
So if you're asking there, you want us to vote, just give y'all permission to look at it and see what you want to do or to accept?
We accept the offer they've given us.
I mean, you can give me permission to work on it, and I'll try to see if I can get it some money.
No, sure.
And I'll come back to you, I'll come back to you with what the original offer is, that he's approved. I'll come back here with that.
So
What's that dimensions on what they're actually taking, I'm sorry, and writing down? Yeah, come on.
Yeah, just do that. We'll go to work on it.
so we need to take action on that, though.
Ain't nobody actually negotiating on it.
No.
Bring it back.
Since you're bringing it back anyway.
Okay.
All right. Anything else?
I do have something, I had,
Just continue on the actual square footage. So it says width varies from 7 to 31 feet.
I'll get you the route.
Square footage is what we'll give, not below.
I'll get you a copy of the route and Commissioner Hobbs a copy of it. Okay. I have had several questions asked to me about the court system that we talked about last month. And I felt like that probably what I needed to do was, at least several of you have asked me different questions at different times. So I thought, okay, well, the best thing to do is to get everybody at least all the same answers that I got, and then you make whatever decisions you want to make out of it. Several people said, why don't we bring the project to you? And if you want to look, it's on the screen. And of course, the courts have been talking to me, some of y'all maybe, about the past 6 years. And growth is the reason. If you look at the amount of schools that you've built since 2010, you see those there, the additions that you've done, and the land that you purchased. Wheeler stations that you built, 1, 3, 9, 10, and 11. And then the office expansions that we've done, jail addition and election commission. So, you know, what I try to do as working for you is that as things happen throughout the county is to organize, and I don't bring you anything that I can keep from it that requires a tax increase, and that's been our history. So we built all of that stuff, you guys have, and so they have been asking for it for quite some time, and so that's why it was brought to you now, because it did require a tax increase with the building program that we got. Why the bill? You know, I've had from time to time judges come. I know Jimmy Lee invited all of us to come over there on Monday, see what he's going through right now. I know parking was an issue, and so this creates 269 spots extra. If you decide to use one of the alternates, of course, the parking garage would give you even more than that. The issues from the judges on where they go out and park after handling the case that's there. Debbie Moss has talked to me from time to time about having all of her people under one roof that she goes back and forth. Of course, the clarity that we end up with, where people talk about where I'm going to court today, because there's 3 places called courts. Time savings, the county clerk serving one building was one thing, and then of course, all the cases in Wilson County running in one district. Now, that was a bill that was out there. I don't know how many people hoping it passes or not, but so the judge came, the Judge Collins and them don't go to the other counties. They're trying to get into they to stay in Wilson County full time. And then of course, if you did this, the expansion would free up space for, like Tom wanted to be all in one place if you could be with planning, and we have other offices that have talked about getting some extra in. So that's why I'm building. I don't know if you know this or not. This is a letter from Robert. We've got 2 units that are down right now over in the court system. And so they wanted to come over here and have court. And we said, sure. Judge Kane, you want to go over and build? And we got to talk about, so we're going to make everybody put your phones up before they got to get a tag. So we got to talk about security. So now we think we've worked it out because Robert said, I can't get those units. Those units parts are outdated. And he said, I'm trying to order and get you some here. But so now we're trying to work all of this to go and stay out of county during the month of July so Kane can have his court. Jimmy Lee's court is in trouble as well. He has 2 portables, and so Robert went out and bought another portable to put in there to see if he can make him salvage. And then Robert also went back and paid a little bit extra to see if he can't get Kane up and running by the end of July, no, the 1st of July. No, yeah, by the 1st of July. So at least we're working on that, but that is an issue that we're dealing with
Mayor,
here. That
can I interrupt you?
Yes, sir.
I was over with Judge Lee and Judge Tatum this morning. 2 things y'all need to know. The air conditioning's out over there. Judge Lee's court's about 85 degrees. The second thing is Judge Lee gave you this information. Last year in his court alone, they disposed of 19,293 cases, and that was not including traffic. So he's partially, as we said, qualified and blessed at the stage. He gave me this information today.
So how do we get to where we are today? And there was somebody come to me and said, well, this seems like it's really been rushed, and that we just, but you really had, 2014 and 15 when the judges come and met with us. I'm not for sure if Linda was in that meeting or not, but they come and said, hey, look, we need more room. Judge Tatum and a few of them came and met with me, and I think Judge Wynn was here at the time and was a part of that. And so was Judge Woodward. So they came and met. So we didn't do anything at the time, but we knew it was on the docket. And the commissioners here decided to buy 2019 and 20, 6 acres in the church behind the jail. So in 2020, they put together Mr. Marlowe and a group, several on a committee, and they began to study the layout of courts. And they actually visited, I think he visited some other courthouses being known at the time. So we did that, and then all of a sudden COVID hit, so we just stopped. And then in 23, then I think Mr. Marlowe or somebody came to me and said, hey, where are we at on this deal? And so we started back up again with the judges. In August, the judges and the clerks met to approve some plans, and they met for several times. Many of you are a part of that. And then we met with law enforcement, public works, judicial committees to approve the plans and the drawings to make sure that all 3 committees understood that and wanted to go to bid with it. They approved that, sent it on, we put it out to bid in April of 2024. The bids and the alternate. Once that happened, we come back in May for another meeting with the budget workshop, because somebody said, hey, we got 3 or 4 issues, let's address that. So we had that meeting in there. And then it went to the regular commission, or it went to the regular budget, and it passed on to commission. And of course, in May, the bids were rejected. The cost of the facility was also been asked to me, build a facility not at capacity in this year's time. As we went through these committees, we went through law enforcement, judicial, and public works problem at that time, public buildings now, to talk about the plans first. Then we went out to bid, then we come back and went through those 3 committees again. And through all of those, it didn't have a negative vote at all. Nobody, but they said, hey, look, you need to look for the future. Build it right now and don't build a 4th floor and it's full in 1 year, you're wasting money. And so they said, let's put a 4th floor. And somebody else said, well, why don't we put another bid out with 30% of that being built? And the conversation said, well, we need more parking. What about building a parking garage? And so all of that got added to that. And so that is, that's what options 1 and 2 and 3 are. Of course, they talked about the legislative bill. I've already talked to you about that, about all the judges being here at one time. What happens when that happens? So we have to have those judges here every day, and they're not gone to the other ones at times. So we did a base bid, which was 3 floors and the site work. And then we did alternate 1, which built out the 4th floor with nothing on it. And then alternate 2, built out the 4th floor with 30% of that being built out, which was an extra courtroom, 2 judges' chambers, judge suite, restroom, and a hallway. These are the bids that came in. So you see Reeves Young was the lowest bid. Alternate 1 to build that 4th floor out was $3.5 million. Alternate 2 was $3.4 for the 30%. They did the $490,000. That was to see about the additional parking, whether we really, was it worth doing that separately or not. And as we looked in here, it definitely was easier and cheaper to do it that way. So it wasn't that expensive. So that bid there, $72 million. Add on the stuff at the bottom you have to do, civil, geotech, furniture, low voltage. And that's how you got the 81. The 84 came from when everybody said, let's add money to it to build a parking garage. So that's how we got to 84. Of course, if you didn't want to do alternate 1, 2, and 3 in the parking garage, you could cut this bid from 84 to 74. You could cut it $10 million right there if that's what you choose to do. But it's there. You don't have to accept all 3 if you don't want to do that. But there's a comparison also at the bottom as you see how close these bids were of the 3 people that bid it. You asked me to go and talk to the people behind the jail, behind the court system about property. The one at 111 and 515 Lester Street, that's the one that was bought by the two attorneys. They asked me 2.9 million. I said, we don't have to have that section. And the house right behind that really doesn't allow us to have any part, doesn't matter if we don't have that one. So that was okay. The other three there, you said gave me a comparable, close bid. One on 121 Rogers is up the street, so I really don't have to have that one either. The only two that said no and are still thinking about it is 501 and 511. The cost, so we have the cost of that $2,390,000 is actually the multi-level cost. So you can see these properties would be cheaper to do if you choose to go that route, if you decide to purchase the land. We did both of those. If you remember too, in doing this process, we brought in special people to deal with judges that actually do this for a living. So Castle Binkley hired, I think the name is Brent was one of them, and I don't remember the other guy's name. But they came, or they're the people that did the workshop with us and found out exactly what we needed, because as you know, building a court building is different than building a school in some sense because of all the specialty things that have to happen. So then I had people say, well, how do we compare with everybody? So I had to do a little research here, but so if you look at Rutherford County Courthouse built in 2016, it was 203,000 square feet, 73 million. It was $360,000 per square foot. Sumner County in 21 was 395. The Mount Juliet Police Department, which was done in 23, was 440. Sevier County Courthouse was, I can't read that, sorry, 567. The Murray County Judicial System Center right now is 618. Mid-10 Regional Office of Disability was 486. And our cost right now on this one is $467 per square foot. So, of course, cost is rising, but it seemed to be in line with the cost of these other buildings. Somebody said, well, what about the hard bid process? Because I know we've had some conversations about, what does hard bid look like? What does construction manager at risk look like? What does construction manager look like? What does guaranteed maximum price look like? And how have we fared on the hard bid? So I reached out to R.G. Anderson because you can see they've done most of our projects. So there is the original contract, there's a final contract, and you can see the savings that we've saved on every one of them so far, except for Tucker's Crossroads, and we broke even on that. So their track record with us has been good as far as that process goes. So to stop the process, if we do, if that's what you want to do, what somebody says, so what does that look like? Well, you delay the new facility, which is a need really and not a want. Likelihood of increased cost, I guess, is there. Interest rates, I have no clue. Architect fees, we have to pay them for what they've done so far. You could reuse them, but if you don't redo the building and you put those same plans back out to bid, Jeff Odom, I think he talked to you and you today, that's a good opportunity to get another lawsuit because they'll say, well, we just bid that and you got that price. So when you redo the bids and redesign, that's going to be extra costs that you will incur as well. So that's the redrawing part. Rebidding cost is there. The design meetings with the clerks, I'm assuming that you'll go back through that if you decide to cut anything, and then the loss of time in this process. So the savings, if you found some, would have to offset this for it to be profitable. There's your bill right now that we received the other day from Castle Binkley, what we owed. I don't think it's 2.841, and LaBronya got that, and she gave that one to me. I can explain a little bit more on that one, but they're through the procurement process. So all the electrical, mechanical, all of that stuff has been done to make the bids be able to go out to be bid. So the work has been done, so you got to pay for that. They normally bill you that over time, but since they will maybe not be a part of the project, they need to be paid for their service, and so I don't have any options on that. So then they got asked, so, okay, you know, the contractor, the architect, you know, those people, they can just process build it any way they want to because they get paid off percentage, so that makes sense. They just give us the Taj Mahal, you know, and go. And so I reached out and said, okay, well, tell me what things we can control and what we don't control. So what I learned is office space is controlled by the number of offices that you have to have according to the number of judges you have here. They really set that part along with codes. The number of toilets are set by codes. The width of the stairs, corridors, and doors, and the roads outside are set by codes. You don't have an option on that. Courtroom seating actually set by the judges, because Judge Lee will say, I need this bigger courtroom, and Judge Tatum say, I don't need that bigger courtroom, don't give me that. So they set that when they structured it. The structure system in the facility, the concrete, steel, and masonry, that is based on codes and some type of performance that has to be done on a load-bearing weight. Sprinkler system you have to have, IT system you have to have, and the site circulation you have to have. Options that we do control would be utilizing low maintenance or long lasting finishes on high traffic areas, depending on what kind of tile you want to put in there. You could put a cheaper tile, and that may make it tough for your maintenance and may have to be replaced quicker. Use a thin set of, I can't answer that what that one is, but I'm glad you know it. Use the wood columns and porcelain on the tile corridor walls. Tile is used to protect the drywall for easy cleaning, so that's something that they put in there. Use larger ceiling tiles to reduce the amount of grid. That was done on this one. I do remember something also, I think they lowered the ceilings to reduce space. Can't remember.
We lowered, in the design process early on, we lowered the building height of each floor 8 inches, which doesn't sound like a lot when you're 18 feet floor to floor, kind of 8 inches is quite a bit. But the purpose of that in the design process is to save money to reduce the volume of the building and still be able to fit all the items we need above ceiling.
Okay. Thin plywood from the wood columns is what's there. Pour epoxy for the floor in the bathrooms. 7-foot tile in the bathroom for easier cleaning. Other options are courtroom, millwork, place similar to the court facility that we have right now, in addition with the back wall and jury wall. They have sound absorption pain because of the conversation of being loud in the courtrooms we got today. Veneer plywood in the courtrooms. Courtrooms use sound transmitted rated wall system. Again, another issue the judges had with us. Use a no wax tile. Use carpet tiles in the office and courtrooms. Standard ceiling tiles, similar to the judicial center. Holding areas match the finish up to the new jail. Metal stud with brick exterior walls, and then a lightweight durable fiberglass for the columns out front, and they did a 20-year roof. So those are things that are optional that could have been did one way or the other for a higher price. What we feel like, I guess, is that those are things we can come back and and look at. But I just, my reason for telling you that is because I kept hearing, well, gosh, the cost is high. Well, the cost could go to 74 million, 10 million right now if you don't want to do it because of the cost. But everybody kept saying we couldn't do it big enough when it was going through committee. Couldn't get enough parking, couldn't get enough, building for the future. As far as the timing goes, the need for it is there on the building program side. And you could say today, well, let's just put it off, let's don't do it. That's not, at some point, I think you'll have to do it. I don't know when that is. And as you know, as we try to schedule everything with Director Luttrell, Cooper and all those people, we try to plan it out so it don't require tax increase on the property. So do it when the money's there and then get ready for the next project after that, because you're in a growing county. You can put it down 3 or 4 years and then, then look rest. Okay, well, he comes to me and says, hey, look, I got to have a high school. You're going to need a tax increase. Okay, the judge is going to say, here's the deal, man. We can't keep working like working. And then you'll be up. So I try to keep that from ever bottling up. So on my side, that's why I present that to you. It does not matter to me what you choose to do. I do not care. But I can't be your mayor and not give you the facts and give you the building program as we've laid it out. And we've done good with that, at least as far as I can say. Since 2010, since I can speak from, we've raised people's taxes twice in 15 years. We've worked our butt off to manage our money with what we've got. So in my opinion, the time for this one was now. That's why I'm talking to you. Otherwise, you wouldn't hear from me. I would bring it to you out. You don't want to spend 84 million. You just want to let them not do it. That's between you and the judges and everybody else. But I mean, that's why we did it. And then that's the cost comparison. So I just need to bring that and let you know that. And that's really all I got. Or I can answer any questions.
Mike, what is the process of getting this back in front of the full commission?
As it was in May, you would need to, the committee would have to recommend sending those two bond resolutions. Because there were actually two. She had them together. One of them's an initial resolution, and then the second is the final resolution. You would need to recommend that back to the county commission, so it goes in the packet. And then, you know, we never actually that night rejected the bond resolutions. We rejected the bid. So if you want to accept that bid, you would need to, in my opinion, make a motion that we go to the county commission with this accepting the bid, and as a part of the motion, it is rescinding what happened in May of rejecting the bid.
I do want to make one more comment, which would probably shoot myself in the foot. I normally do it. Commissioner Weathers, Commissioner McFarland, and I was supposed to be there, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Jenkins, met with Bassberry and Sims and talked about this conversation on Helix Spencer that came in and talked about guaranteed maximum price. And coming out of that meeting said we need to explore definitely going forward how we do it. Could we have a one-shot? And so that is something that we're going to try to put together going forward. How do we look at building and very much we like to invite the Board of Education to come to that as well and listen. I will tell you that people, I did get asked this question, do we ever do construction manager stuff here? And so I wrote this down so everybody would know that we've had experiences on all sides. Normally in schools, Cassie Binkley has been the architect, the school design, working with the school, designing it, and they would do a hard bid process for the general contractor. The Expo Center was done different. We did, my architect was Mike Manis, construction manager was Rusty Thompson. The State Fair project said we have the day of the 14 million that's going out there. We have a construction manager who will put out RFP, Donnie Steen is that person. So every dollar we spend out there goes through him, making sure it's been built right. When we do an Ag Learning Center, the architect on that one was Wayne Oakley, and the construction manager will be named. We'll put that out to bid on that one. Veterans Museum and Plaza, we had a construction manager on that one. Steve Robinson was the name. The architect for that was really for Sam Anderson, Jeff Hall, Mike Manis, and Dwayne Oakley. They went together and didn't charge us anything to build to draw out. On the library, it was Sam Anderson, Mount Juliet. Construction manager project there was Steve Robinson, Phoenix Builders. The Tennessee Made building, we did architect Mike Manis. Construction was done by Stockton Builders. The jail addition was architect Scatson Binkley. General contractor was RG Anderson. In the Weema Station, the architect has been Mike Manis. The general contractors have been, the two in Lebanon was State Brothers. The one in Norring was King's Construction out of Cookland. And the two in Mount Juliet was the Phoenix Commercial Builders, Steve Robinson. The clerk's office for Mount Juliet was done by Robert Bain. The election commission was done by Robert Bain. So we've done various construction people, construction managers, construction companies. So we do have a history. as we explore going forward with the construction manager side, it's something that, as we have the workshop, we will definitely do the workshop regardless of what we do here tonight.
Were all those projects hard bid?
No, so all of them are publicly bid, and you can't, even if you go guaranteed maximum price, the construction man, you still got public bid. Yeah. The guaranteed maximum price, the way I understood Jeff today, is really more of a term. It's not a, as the guy, it's hard to take. They can work with you, but you wouldn't put somebody in charge of your building that don't either do construction themselves or an architect, don't design. Yeah. So that's a term. So these were bid publicly, but we either had a construction manager working with the architect, or we got a hard bid through the architect.
So, Michael, the resolution that's passed a while back concerning public bids, can you explain that to us just a little bit?
I think so, although we're going back 15, 16 years. It was designed, I'll tell you, the intention was for things to be hard bid. But the language is broader than that, and it allows for a hard bid, the conventional hard bid that we're all familiar with. And then it allows for the guaranteed maximum price, but that has to be publicly bid as well. In the past, what has happened, I've been in this process from the get-go, and in the past, what would happen is they would say, we can save you $1 million, but they didn't publicly bid it. They would say, we've talked to people, and they'll do it for this price, and they'll do it for this price. But it was never publicly bid around the table where the finance department opened the bids and saw that. So now it would have to be, if you go that way. And both by state law, which there have been some changes, I think Jeff and the other fellow told us yesterday, and also our resolution. So you go, and the guaranteed maximum price is something that's used, the term is, but the correct term that we heard yesterday was design bid. So you got three options. You got the hard bid, you got the construction manager, and you got design bid. Design bid. And the guaranteed maximum price is just a slang term that's used in the design.
You know what, I guess what concerns me is we've gone through this process for quite a few years dealing with this quote system. We made decisions, most of them unanimous decisions of going forward. And we have, this resolution that says it has to be publicly bid, the process, the job. And then all of a sudden, I don't know if it's sticker shock or what, we just come to a screeching halt. And for the people that we've involved ourselves with, the architects and all the other folks that has assisted us in this process, this was all known. Everything, there's nothing, we hadn't surprised anybody. There's nothing that has occurred that makes it suspect that we've done something wrong here. And it's kind of hard for me to understand and believe that we've just put a halt to something that we need at this point in time, and do it the same way that we've done a lot of other things in the past. Big dollar things, especially with the school system. Man, it's open for discussion here, y'all. If anybody wants to voice their opinion concerning this, now's the time to do it. Yes.
Yeah, I do have an opinion on this. I wasn't here, and I apologize for not being here last week in Chicago last I'm really retired. So I'll pay it all up. But first of all, I don't know how you rescind something when we got Rule 2728. Whenever I tried to get PEG going, it did pass in 2014. I was told I couldn't bring it back for a good time because I got voted down. It seems like to me, you can't just rescind it, and even if you had the votes to do it, without looking to save yourself some money, you'd almost be asking the whole county commission to raise their hand and vote for this and say, well, we changed our mind. We don't want to save any money. We don't even look to save any money. We just changed our mind. And like I say, I wasn't here. I think I probably voted with the 22 because these things all seem to grow and grow and grow. They start off as $60 million projects. I know you explained this, but then you vote on an $84 million bond issue. Yeah, there is kind of some sticker shock. But then when you got people saying, hey, we can save you 10 or 20%, you don't look at it. And then you come back next month and everybody raises their hands and says, we changed our mind, we don't want to look at it. It's kind of inviting everybody to look foolish. Not me, I wasn't here to vote for it, but I'm just saying, and I'll be quiet.
Kind of like that work session that we had trying to answer some questions. We had 5 commissioners. And we should have had more than 2.
Was that on the 9th? Or was, or you just had one the week before, so.
Anybody else have something they want to say? Yes.
First of all, I'm not sure why we even talking about it again or readdressing it. We just 2 weeks ago made a decision to reject the bid. On something as all the process I've seen, I don't hear any approval of this project by this commission. It's just been worked on. And I don't know who we is who's doing everything. But this is going to set a precedent that we make a decision one week and it looks like somebody gets to us and we come back and change our decision the next month and vote different. What changes in 2 weeks? $24 million more than what we originally thought. I didn't vote against. I didn't vote to save money. I voted against the whole thing. But I'm just telling you right the way I feel that, and I'm going to stand that way because I know it's going to cost us a property tax. It's going to push us to that edge and that limit if what we've been told in the past is true. It's going to, the very next project we build is going to cost us. And it's going to put us to our debt ceiling and we're going to go over. So I don't think we're able right now financially to do it. And I know you keep saying we went and raised the tax, but we did a reappraisal. Let me just explain this to everybody. And half of the people, or at least a great percentage of our people's taxes double. That's a tax increase if you're paying the bill, it's a tax increase. Some people's did, some people's even went down. I can't explain that in an inflated market when we had a reappraisal. How anything in Wilson County, you'd have to burn your house down to make it reappraised lower in Wilson County. And so I don't understand that. But a lot of people's taxes double. 41% of the property taxes are paying the bills here. So I just can't see us paying. I voted against spending $84 million, not to save money. And this project has never been approved by this commission. And this looks really wishy-washy for us to flip-flop on the decision in 2 weeks. And somebody's been some busy boys here. I don't know why it's even over discussion tonight.
It's coming up for discussion because I've had several questions from different people. And as I said before, my job as the mayor is to give you the facts. It went through 3 committees, 2 times, budget committee, budget workshop, and never got a negative vote. And that was that you voted. I didn't vote for that. As again, we're going to have Central Pike Elementary come to us, and just like we had in Lagarda not too long ago, and those are going to be big dollars. And this judicial center here, you can put it up as many years as you want to. Before you come back, if you're going to build a 4-level story building, it's going to be $77 million. We turned around and built Green Hill for 90-something million. I mean, the cost of these projects are what they are. If there was not a need for it, you wouldn't be getting it to begin with. And there is not a tax increase to fund this one. The next thing you've got coming
he's gonna run you a school from on Central Pike, and there's enough money in the bank to do that. That won't cost you
What
whatever.
I wanted you to say.
That's right.
Yes, you had.
That's
Where
not
did the money come? How did it all of a sudden get $84 million?
So what you have-
6
what you
months
have-
ago, we didn't have it.
Yeah, what you have, Pastor, is you have $1.90 settlement tax rate, and you put so much money in a debt service, which pays your bills to build facilities like the ones that we listed up here, and you built all of those outside of two, without tax increase, because you appropriated that money in that particular slot. That money we got to do that over there was done by a group of people a long time ago here when they put 3/4% of the sales tax aside to build those schools out of the rural debt service. So the money, you've appropriated the money in that one night. You give so much money to him for education, so much for the general fund. So that's where the money gets in. So it's in that pot. So we call the bond council and say, hey, look, we got 84 million. Can we afford that or not? And that's when they say, yeah, you got enough revenue coming in to pay those payments. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, I know you don't mean this, but as your mayor, I take offense to it when you say, who's been busybody? I ain't talked to a dang one of these people. I don't care what you do.
I didn't say busy
But I do
body,
care.
I said busy
Yeah.
people. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
But my problem is that if I let us, if this thing goes away and it costs us money, that's on me too. So I have to tell you that. And if you say, hey, look, I don't care, hey, I got you, well, $4 million, let's be done, let's do it again, and see if it don't cost you money. Because and I'll be honest too, I had phone calls that were given to me by other mayors. He had some from finance directors that said, what do you think? They've heard of this process before. They're not doing it in other places. It ain't being done in Williamson, some of the Rutherford, at least right now to my knowledge, and we checked on it. So they just said, what are you doing? They said, they thought I was a part of it. I said, no, I just said, to keep us out of a lawsuit, you have to reject the bills. Don't have any option. But as far as, I don't know much about guaranteed maximum price and all of that stuff, but I got an earful from former commissioners, former superintendents, other elected officials, more than I wanted to hear. And so that's why I felt like it was my job to tell you the facts. If you say, hey, I don't want to spend $84 million, that's okay. I mean, I'm tighter than y'all are, I promise you. So you let me keep the $84 million? Yeah. I'm okay. But at the same time, I think I have to answer the judges when they say, as Jimmy Lee sent that to him, hey, I listened to him like I listened to Joy Cooper and Sheriff Brown when he said, hey, look, we're going to double the size of the jail. And he stood up in front of us every month and said, hey, look, our numbers are up. So, I mean, that falls on me to make sure that whatever Jeff Luttrell says when I need a Central Pike Elementary, that we try to do it. But I just showed the coal in, you guys got the engine, so. Yes.
I think Mike can correct me if I'm wrong, in order to bring it back on the floor, there would have to be somebody from the prevailing party that makes a motion to bring it back under the Robert's Rules of Order. I think that we have to bring it back, and then there's a vote.
Before the next.
To disagree with you.
Yeah.
It has to be done during the same meeting,
That's right.
once you adjourn the meeting.
And so,
We
That's all.
thought we moved to the next order of business.
That's right. So,
Let me ask a dumb question real quick. Why don't we at least, I didn't vote for it because I wasn't here. Why don't we at least look at the guaranteed maximum? You're gonna go back and do this over again? We're gonna go around in this revolving door here of decision making? Because I'll tell you what, somebody manages construction projects. They may not have the title, but you're not building great schools and somebody manages. They may not be on the books and they may not be actually being paid for it. Somebody in the organization of building things has to manage the project. And it seems to me that the guaranteed maximum thing is basically buying a project manager within the bid, so to speak. That's what we don't have. And so if we don't have that, how are we sure these projects are being managed correctly? How do we know they're being managed? And you talk about all these options and stuff. Yeah, the way things are done and ordered and how they're fit together and how they're planned and organized, that lowers the cost of a lot of construction. And that's what a manager does. And so, what I don't understand, and I lived here and I saw the conflict. I saw when the guaranteed maximum exposed some dang hard things that happened within the construction project in Wilson County. some people got prosecuted for it, or almost did. And seems like to me we ran off good guys in that process. And I'm just asking, why is there such a reluctance to even, because they built a dozen projects for us. They built Mount Juliet High, they built Lebanon High, they ain't fallen down. They fixed Lakeview Elementary. I mean, they've done a lot of projects for us. And so before we just change our minds, even if we can't, look silly, should we at least try to save some money here in this process, or at least take a look at it? How much would that cost us to take a look at it?
So to answer your question, that's why we rejected the bids, because once we were so far down the pike on this project that it's, in my opinion, too far gone to do that. You can start the next project like that and get them on the front end, but now you just, as I put a slide up there, the guy asked me, said, so, okay, if we just said, forget it, let's just start over, what do we lose? That's what I figured out. You'll lose all that. Like you can start all over, hire this company, but you're gonna lose every dollar that we spent and the time that we spent there. I mean, that's, and if you rebid the same thing, according to Jeff Odom, take a good chance of being sued by the people that didn't win the bid.
Is it possible legally to retain our current architect that we already owe fees to, but then bring on a contractor at risk? So the architect and the contractor at risk can manage the cost. And the reason I say this is because I handle our police department building. We did the contractor at risk thing. Early on in the project, I was given a number to shoot for. And when the bids came back, it was like $35 million. My number was close to $30 million. I didn't want to exceed that. So I was able to go back to contractor risk and with our architects to work on bringing that cost down. And I was just shocked because what we changed really didn't change the building. And I still got the department I needed. And even ongoing through this, if something changes, I can still work with our contractor and our architects to manage the costs throughout the entirety of the project. And that's where from my experience, I found it helpful. I'm not aware of or knowledgeable about this hard bid process because that's just not what I've done. And it doesn't seem like maybe you can manage the cost of the hard bid because we have to agree with that number.
Yeah, hard bid here with the police station.
We went contractor risk. So basically,
We've agreed to a hard bid then. We've agreed to a hard number. I represent Reeve Young, I'm the low bidder. And we have said for 64,570, we will build exactly what Jason has put on the plans he specified. And Jason put the specifications that I can't submit change orders. I can't, so if I missed a door frame, a sign, whatever, that's on me. So I'm at risk for everything that's in those documents and the intent of those documents for 64 million. I will tell you, in my 23-year history, this is a very, very cost-effective courthouse for what you guys are getting for $467 a square foot. If you go to CM at risk and you decide you want to reject this and start all over, I have done more construction manager at risk projects than I have hard bid because construction manager at risk is qualifications based. You're going and selecting a contractor that specializes in judicial facilities, and you give them project resumes, you give them people resumes and personnel resumes, and you're selecting basically a partner that's going to come in and that, just like you said, work with you to get to a certain budget. Hard bid, you're selecting based off the lowest price. So anybody that can come and turn in a low bid is going to win the job. It just so happens you have a low bidder sitting here that has built 6 courthouses in her career and would gladly sit down with anyone upon award and say, if you would rather do sealed concrete instead of terrazzo, I will give you a credit back for sealed concrete and delete the terrazzo. I mean, I have no problems, and Jason and I have talked about this. There's no reason why we can't provide savings and take a look at cost options. I got the local grader sitting here with me right now, Thorns Excavating. He's already come up with some ideas on how to save money on site development. But I can't help you with any of that until we're awarded a contract. So you haven't done anything wrong here, in my opinion. I mean, you're trying to do the best thing you can for the county. there's pros and cons to each delivery method. But I do think, and I do agree, if you put it back out, you are running the risk of it costing more. And certainly at this point, everybody knows what the low number is. So for somebody to come back in after the fact and say, oh, I can save you 20%. Well, sure, 20%, but where are they cutting? Are you getting a one-story courthouse? I mean, I don't know. I've come to several of your meetings. I've bit my tongue through the whole thing, and you know, we have a vested interest in this. We've spent an enormous amount of resources. You have a tremendous amount of local subcontractors that were counting on this project to take them through this year in 2025 to put food on the tables for their families. And for this all to go back out, it just breaks my heart. It does. So there's a lot of hard work that's gone into this.
There's your work session. At least she gave you a good one. Seriously. Because she sees both sides too. Mm-hmm.
The bids are only good to July the 8th. So.
Yes, sir.
But Mike, I guess I'm still a little confused. I didn't think once we got the hard bid that we could then go negotiate to lower their price even more.
If you enter into an agreement with them, at that point, there are options there, or even actually at this point in discussions, they can offer the options.
Sure.
If you would like.
Because they are the low bidder, and they're only hurting themselves,
Other-
changing themselves.
Sure.
So contractors law, other contractors could not try to offer anything.
So when people come in saying they do a guaranteed maximum price, they can come in and get that bid. It can't be done.
So in this case here, you could award the bid and then have a work session afterwards to
July.
work the price down.
To July 8th, isn't it?
So, well, I mean, once I guess you get to go and negotiate the prices. But is that
doable?
That would be correct. Yeah, I mean, I would assume you guys would be happy to offer options.
We are invested. Yes.
I like this.
We are invested.
Well, it's a relatively, everything's expensive, I understand that, but
he did that?
So our contractor does.
Okay.
They didn't see my presentation.
The contractor makes a percentage of the overall
Correct.
bill.
It's fixed fee.
do you know how many square feet that building is?
There's some two out.
So I got it right here.
35,000 square feet.
Jen?
Like I said, it was 30, he said $30 million?
The 29.
2029.
That doesn't include soft costs or,
Okay.
things.
So the numbers I was using for that, I had $460 a square foot. It was actually $644. So just a comparison,
Bring someday.
very similar building going up right across the street from my office, $644 a square foot. And your courthouse is $460.
So yours is.
Part of the difference, I don't want to get too much into these numbers. They're crossing some weird lines, but.
I'm sorry.
That square footage number seems a lot higher than what I have on my paperwork, so I can verify, I have my documents in front of me. But our building is a lot different. We have an emergency communication center, a lot of technology. We have hardened facility, tornado shelters in the building. So, evidence storage facility. All that can change the price of a building,
Yeah.
But, send me an email next week to the other side of me and I can let you, so they're not.
Okay, the question then, for me then, is if we accepted the bid, then with the understanding that we can sit down and do some negotiating with what's going into that, what do we need to change in our resolution to make that happen?
Well, let's talk about that. I've heard a lot of different things here, and Aaron and I and Diane, we met with two lawyers that are expert in this area for an hour and a half just one day.
You didn't charge us.
I think they did. They did.
They did.
If you got a deal. Because they provided a lot of good information. And I promise you I'll get to answer your question. But, they talked about the different options. And first of all, I asked the question yesterday. We actually rejected the bid. Can we go back and accept it? And they did give us an answer then, but they went back and did some work, some research today, a lot of emails passing back and forth. And basically they said if you were within the time limit, July the 8th, and the low bidder was agreeable to it, the way I understood it, it could be done. Now, I need to qualify that by saying, what I heard from them was they couldn't find anything either way. Couldn't find any law. But it was their opinion. Is that what, the way y'all interpret it? That it could be done. So, first of all, I think I've heard her say they would still do the job. And now they're saying they'll work to reduce the scope of it perhaps. But then it will require y'all to vote on it.
So you'd be basically putting out a new resolution for the bond.
You still got your same bond resolution, you never actually voted.
Rejected it.
Yeah, rejected it. We didn't reject it. Never voted on that. We made a motion to reject the bid. And that's what happened.
So then the bond never came before you because
What is it with no bid coming on?
That's right. So that's why we didn't do it. So the resolutions could go back into the package, but I would feel better if it all repetitive. I'm just not gonna stick
What
with
we pay you for?
Well, I'll stick it back if you want me to. I'd rather y'all say put it back.
Your legal opinion is that we can bring that back to the county court this month.
And Tommy, that's based on the hour and a half discussion we had yesterday. And that wasn't all they talked about. We covered a lot of
I
things.
actually refer to you,
And
are we doing legal in your?
I've done it
If we did.
in this body.
well, the only people that could complain about this, I don't know who could complain about it if you're still going to the low bidder. You hadn't brought somebody else in.
No, let's separate this one.
Okay,
We voted to reject the bid.
we did.
So what we would need to do is bring that back on the floor of the county court and vote to unreject the bid. Then you could vote on the bond. And at that time, Brother Glenn, if you're against the expense of it, that's when you vote no and don't make the bond. I mean, that's some things saying, no, I'm not in favor of building this building. And if we had voted not to make the bond, we'd know where we were standing tonight. We wouldn't be having this discussion.
But you're correct. It's a two-step process.
But
if you don't go back and accept the bid.
I just have a.
With integrity though, I'm opposed to the whole project, period. But with integrity, if we're gonna go build the courthouse, in my opinion, the honest thing to do is to award the bid to the person who got the bid. It's the honest thing to do.
And that's what.
If we're gonna build the building, I'm opposed to it, but
But if we don't make the bond, we don't have the
It's
money.
not fair.
to award it for it. Yes, so that's your opportunity there to voice your opinion on whether we build courthouse and the amount of it, so forth.
Okay, but you never,
Yeah,
okay, get back to my question.
shoot it at me again.
Who's that?
My question was, with the discussion that has come forth from the local bidder today, do we need to change anything in our resolution specifying that the low bidder is willing to negotiate things to make the price lower?
We can put that in there. We can specify.
Do we have to? I mean,
No, you
is
have
it
to.
necessary?
It's not necessary for you to do that, but if you feel better putting it in there, then we can.
Well, I would feel better, but that's my opinion.
Commissioner Jones is correct with that. It's a two-step process, and if you don't agree to accept that bid, you never get to the bond resolution. And when you get to the bond resolution, it matters.
Okay.
Well, I'll make a motion if you're ready for it.
Okay, I'm ready to go.
The word of the motion, like Mike presented, to bring the rejection of the bid back before the county court to be voted on again, as long as Mike states that we're doing it in the legal process. If it's not the way it's done, then all I have to say is we're passed.
Let me make myself clear to you. based upon what the discussion we had in here yesterday and the follow-up emails that have passed back and forth, everybody believes that it is. But is there a case that I can take you to and the judge or the Court of Appeals says, yes, it is, or no, it's not? There is not, that we can find.
We're trying to do.
I'm asking you, as a county, Mr.
My
President,
team.
you're a team,
That's one.
and that's all I'm going to bank on.
Appreciate that.
Can we include in that, well, I
Yeah.
guess that's a different, is that a different vote? What I said.
I mean, have to make changes.
Yeah.
No, I think it can be
I think the time.
whatever motion you want to send out of here or make. You just need to include everything in there so I can word it about 10 o'clock tonight. I'm being facetious. I'm getting done with it tonight. So. I know.
I mean, let me say something here. By making that motion, that just brings it back before us.
That's good.
If we choose to reject the bid, you still get to vote to borrow the money to build the building. If we don't make the bond, we don't build the building.
That's right.
So if you're not in favor, if the number's too high, that number's all I can say. But that's how you eliminate that part of it, in my opinion. And if you're gonna start a new process on how to put this out and build,
That's
let's
what
go
you
for
say.
it.
That's what you say. Right. Yeah.
But I think we went through the process the right way, we met time after time. Never a word of anyone being opposed to it. I mean, everybody's amazed by the cost of it, but nobody ever said, maybe we can do this in a cheaper way, right up until the time. Now, I mean, I'm 100% behind saving the taxpayer a dollar. I hope all y'all know how tight I am. But, I think we done it in the wrong process, though, and that's what I'm trying to say.
I did say we could do it on another way.
Sorry?
No, I did say we could do it another way. We could build it in stages. We could do it as we afforded in three stages. I mentioned it on the floor of the commission meeting. I was ignored, but I did. So I did mention that. Now, I don't know that would have been possible or not, but I did put it out there.
But we've been through the process multiple times through numerous committees, and I was going to say, I think we followed the process that we're supposed to be living by, following our own rules. And I'm saying, if you're not happy with the price or the process of the financial part of it, vote no on the bond.
I do think the cost per square foot is very low, especially when you look at ongoing building projects. I think Franklin's City Hall is somewhere 700 plus square foot. To me, that's not an advanced building, it's a City Hall building. So my opinion is we've already started this process
They invested in it.
so much. I don't know how you reverse it and then try to get a contractor at risk when they already know all the data that's been presented through the process. And I think a medium resolution to this would be to try to work with the team that you have and see if we can reduce costs better there. You know, I think there's probably still some options to hopefully get the costs down, maybe some more in some areas. And how much, if we work with y'all, how much do you think you could save off that?
Well, I will say right now, Jason has already designed you guys a very cost-effective courthouse that functions in the way that you need it to function. He's already come up with alternates for, shelling, not building a fourth floor. So he's already done a lot of the heavy lifting to get you guys to 64 million on the construction cost piece. If you tell me you want 10 million, then I will sit with him and we will brainstorm, we will come up with ideas to get you 10 million. If you tell me you want 20 million, I'm probably gonna tell you it's a 2-story facility and not even a 3-story, but we could get you wherever you need to be. It's just what are we willing to sacrifice to get costs down? But that can be done.
And I think that's what I heard from former people here and other mayors and stuff. As my granddaddy used to say, cheapest is not always, the best. You get what you pay for.
Right.
And I don't want to replace something in 3 years because you saved me $10 this year.
Right.
But that just hurts me, and that's what I hear from maintenance folks and all that. So I don't, I mean, I want to save money, but I don't want a cheap building that
We would be
our
smart.
veins and then got to go fix every time I turn around.
Sure.
Because I can tell this commission or the public, we saved them $10 million. I want a cost-effective building. And so, I mean, every time we get there, I don't want a 10-year roof warranty if I got a 20-year roof warranty right now. Because, I mean, that's just gonna cost me money at the
That's
end of the
right.
day. And I'll hopefully still get around. It's,
Now, hold on, before we go any further, we've got a motion, is there a second?
I need to know what the motion is exactly.
You're gonna have to work for it.
He's not letting
Tell-
out of that.
Tell me what you want.
Your recommendation.
You want a resolution to approve the bid that is, that the low bidder has presented, with the understanding that there will be discussion between the bidder and the government, for lack of a better term, on how to reduce the cost.
Exactly.
I hope I remember that, Tom.
You can write that down right now. Put that right.
You can watch it on video.
Okay, is,
You think I want to run a business?
is there a second? I'll second the motion. Now, discussion.
Yeah, Rule 27, okay? We had a resolution or a motion to reject the bid. So
Speak
to
up,
undo
Jim.
that, it takes 2/3 vote to undo that rejection. According to Rule 27. It says no motion or resolution can be rescinded except by 2/3 vote of the legal membership of the commission. So you can do that in the commission to put it up for rescinding what we did before. Okay? That's according to our own rules.
But you can't reconsider it after you've waited a whole meeting.
No, what I'm
You're doing it
saying
next
is,
order of
the
business.
motion was to reject the bid that was made by Mr. McFarland. It was seconded, it was voted on, it passed. So that is a motion. So the motion may be rescinded according to our Rule 27, but it has to take 2/3 of the commission rescind. That's all I guess.
Okay, yes,
There's been a lot of discussion about saving money or not saving money, but people have a lot of reasons why they vote against something. And, my vote against it had nothing to do with, I didn't even read the email. And, and if anybody believes we need something, I lived it. I was up there. If anybody went up there today, you couldn't park. It was people in the grass. Grand jury was being selected. Jury pool was coming in. So we can't assume that the vote we took was necessarily against the building itself. There was a lot of discussion around pay this last time as well. And there's been some commitments made to fix that problem, which I think may result in a different vote should it be on the commission floor. So I don't think everybody could assume that we need to look at something to save money, and that was everybody's opinion.
But we want to look at that and say, no,
I'm not opposed to saving money.
If it's been offered, you.
I'm strictly talking about the vote itself.
So let me ask this question. So as a commission, I've always thought that you can do whatever you want to do, and you've shown me that many times. So I could reject it this month. Can't next month I accept it? I mean, why do I have to rescind it? Because we come in before and said, well, let's do this. And we got enough people to vote for it, they just voted for it. And we didn't go back because I know we've done things that counter what we said before no on. So if they decided to say, look, I want to accept the lowest bidder based on this fact, and they pass it, and they don't rescind that,
Well, the effect of it, if you pass something like this, is automatically rescinded the other. I mean, I can't vote to this. We won't do it, we will do it.
I thought it was always what you told me was as good as the last resolution that was passed.
Always is.
Yeah.
Y'all will pass your budget next Monday night, and then you start amending it in July, and all that you do it all the time.
Somebody left something.
Well, it take 2/3 to pass it since it was rescinded the other. Let me ask you.
That was the reason I wanted to put something different in the resolution, so that it would not be the exact same thing that
We
would.
didn't have a resolution.
We had a motion that passed. It said that.
Okay, so this body has done this before. If you remember, it was, I think 2019, I was trying to find the emails from Mickey Hall actually at the time, but West Wilson Middle School, when we finished Lakeville, there was $1.4 million left, and the school district came to us and asked us if we could use that $1.4 million for a field house and bathrooms at West Wilson Middle School. And it failed.
And we said, put it back on the bottom.
And we came back and we did get, but because Bobby remembers this because Bobby and I went head to head on this thing. Anyway, because I didn't want people peeing in the trees. But regardless,
Not that I did.
I'm sorry.
I'm glad you could make that. So what we ended up doing is we did a motion to reconsider. And we can go back and find it, but that's what we did. And that same field house was reconsidered and came back to the county commission and we voted it again.
Came back up.
So you can do it.
Steve comes back.
So,
It takes
yeah,
2/3
it came
vote.
back.
Takes
Right.
2/3 vote to do that.
It did,
That's what I'm
but,
saying.
right,
You
but
take
we
2/3.
did it, and that's how we did it. We did a motion to reconsider.
It's your own rules.
So, and I think it started it actually in the education committee at the time. So, I would think, based on precedent, that this committee could offer a motion to reconsider to kick it up to the commission, and at that point, then the commission could then take on a 2/3 vote to reconsider, and then potentially vote again.
That's
I like
different
that.
from receipt.
We do that, Mike?
I don't know that you can reconsider a vote after the body
Not a vote.
vote
It's
is over.
already voted.
That's what we did though.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Well, yeah.
we've done it one other time.
Wrong gun, it's been sitting the
Lawyer now.
What's the difference?
If somebody
Yeah, they're,
We got it.
But require 2/3 vote, right?
well,
No, I think fair, but yeah.
I think you're looking at 2/3 to go for it.
Well, we just put in the resolution to rescind the first one and vote for the
That's what I originally said.
2/3 vote.
Hear that.
That's what I originally said.
Okay, good. I mean, it's our own rule. I mean, I didn't make it up.
John's right.
It is. And the other thing you can do is vote to suspend the rules, but that takes 2/3 vote.
And we also need a motion to bring the bond resolution 24-5-12 back on the floor.
You will.
We're not even voting down on the first.
Yeah, but I mean, you would need that one to this.
Yeah.
When you read my resolution and they made a motion to,
Let me hear it.
Go for it.
What I wrote down was the motion to accept the low bid, and I'll put the name and the amount in there, with the understanding the low bidder and the government, for lack of a better term, will make an effort to reduce it.
Is that right? Wasn't enough.
I'm trying to think about. I think that's what we need to do.
I do.
Okay, there's a motion and a second from the committee. Is there any other discussion?
Busy to get it to the commission.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Now, what did you say we have to vote on?
Do the motion to send the two resolutions as an initial resolution where people have 10 days to petition, to have a referendum if they don't want to vote, if they don't want to do that for a meeting. But you gotta send those two resolutions back to the county.
They're already written up too.
They are. They ain't gonna change them none other than that. Add at the bottom.
Unless you ain't got right.
I got more right than you think. I'll just keep moving. I like making progress.
That's it. Is there a motion to do so?
So good.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Is there any other old business or new business that needs to come before the budget committee?
Real quick, where we at on pay study?
Okay, so, conversation has been, do you want to stay?
I got a flight in 55 minutes. Sorry.
You can't even get to the airport.
I'm gonna make it. Thank you.
Been a lot of conversation about pay, and I know that, a lot of conversation about the way that, where we're at right now. And I really, understand what people have told me. I want to take just a second, you listen to me. We have worked hard to try to get paid for employees where it needs to be. Short version, when we got here, we come to the budget committee with the growth money, we play God and give out money to everybody, and they'd say, well, you got money for employees, and they'd say, well, you gotta raise taxes, you have any doing it. So then we worked to say, can we get them in the front, of people? So we said, okay, let's put in, and I call it Kenny's resolution, but 1.5% increase to employees and 0.5% to the insurance fund, so they wouldn't have to raise insurance, if growth was 3.5% or better. And that's worked for a while. There were a few years we didn't have 3.5% growth. So then we keep going, we did the pay study to find out, hey, are people in line with other people? Then we came back and said, okay, is there a way, because we might not have growth, is there a way we can get people in a system that a 2% increase happens each year without having to come to the county commission or worrying about where we got 3.5% growth? Now, the caveat there is we didn't have enough growth paper, and we're going to tell you, hey, you're going to stop. You can't get a step this time. But that's how the step system got here. And in the top 16 steps were 2% for each year, not 16 years of years experience. So we took the people's salaries and stuck them on that scale. We don't know how long Johnny's been working for us. He may have been with us for 30 years, but he might have been a jailer for 15 years and now he's a 15-year captain. We don't know that, so we don't have that. But that's confusing to everybody, including myself. And so I had a lot of discussion about, hey, we need to get something that we understand. So I take that on the chin. I think that's right. I think it's good because you've given the step system has given your employees over $9 million over the last 3 years. So it has worked, and the pay scale has worked on evaluation. But still, it's not good enough for people to understand it. Employees, all of us too. So we need to be able to understand it. So what I've asked is that we get the steering committee together, put them in the commission room, along with elected officials and department heads. And we told Beth, because we, as y'all asked me to, we met the very next day and said, Beth, we need a pay plan that we can understand. I know you got grades, you get the grades, list me every job title I've got, heavy equipment operator, whoever, the truck drivers, whatever, and then give me years of experience where I can plug my people in, whether it's 16 years, 15 years, 5 years, 20 years, whatever. Build me a structure and bring it and show it to our people. And I'm gonna let the steering committee and those people shoot holes at it and build a structure. Once you got the structure built, then we're going to turn them loose to go back and say, okay, like they do every other year now, find out what is the going rate out there of market, and also maybe do some public records requests to find out, this will be after the budget passed, what everybody's raised their rates to, so we know exactly what we're talking about. They'll take that structure, go meet with each department head and elected official. And as we said before, the driver in that is a department head and elected official. Beth and them with the pay plan just tell you what the market is. They don't say you got to pay so and so that. They just tell you what the market is. The elected official department head say this is what we want. This is what we want to pay them. We're going to bring that back into the county commissioners and say, okay, look, Beth has said this is what the people in the sheriff's office are making. Sheriff Bryan says he wants to pay them this, and let everybody see that. And let y'all look at that, and then once the elected officials and department heads agree on that figure, then we're gonna let Aaron figure out what the price is, and then come back to you and say, hey, can you afford it? So that's the process to do. That way, everybody knows everything that we've done, understands the system, and everybody signs off on the pay, and there's no question about, okay, well, I thought I was getting this, but I'm getting this. So that's kind of the plan to start, and she's already started on the structure. As soon as she gets back, we'll put out, and first, I said steering committee because that was kind of a recommendation from Commissioner Kurtz, and I took that, but everybody will be involved in that. But the steering committee can be the body that says, okay, they'll be the one to pass and say, yes, I like that structure, and send it on to the county commission for final approval. And then once we get the structure, we'll start doing the numbers. But that's a process that we started, and I hope that you're happy, will be happy with that, and can get involved with us on that. Any comments or questions? Did that answer your question?
Appreciate you doing that.
Well, I realize that it didn't, it's hard to understand. It's hard for me to understand. I'll just be honest with you. I mean, but they were working hard, and you know, and Kiana today, we talked a little bit, and you know, and she feels responsible too, because she's thinking, I hope I'm doing you a good job. If I'm not, please tell me. And she said, I want to do a good job with what we're doing here. I said, you are? I said, you know, when the 2% scale was what it was meant for. But we need to take another step, no pun intended, and get to something better. And so we're going to do that.
How long will that process take us?
So we're going to work to where we'll be able to have everything done. So next year, when it comes budget time, you got it, and you'll be ready to fund it, or how you want to fund it. So it's going to take me a little bit. I mean, you're looking
at a year.
Okay, well, yes, sir. But I mean, as soon as we get done with it, yes, it'll take a little while. But we're going to start now. We go down for
Now instead of later.
That's right.
At that point, we have to see if we even have the money at that point to do it.
At that point,
And we're talking property tax rates.
so you got a couple of options. You can do, yes, you'll have a property tax option if you want to do that, wheel tax option if you want to do that. That has been asked of me, the numbers on that, and I can tell you that if you need me to tonight. You want me to talk to you about that?
Yeah.
So in other words, AFT is really not, as Aaron will tell you, a strong enough revenue source to do funding for pay for employees. Property tax, as Commissioner Rich said, is. Wheel tax can be. If you want to do the wheel tax, what you'll have to do, you have to pass it on 2 consecutive readings. You would actually have to pass it tonight, if that's what you wanted to do. It needs to pass in June, in July, has to pass both times, majority vote. And then that would mean that they would have, they have 30 days, which is September the 18th, to be able to get enough signatures, 10% of the people that voted in the governor's race, ought to make you put it out to ballot. That signature number according to the Election Commission is 4,455 people. Registered voters have to sign that. But if they did that, they could give that to the Election Commission. And the Election Commission told me today that we would have, they got a 75 to 90 day window that election must fall in. Well, the November 5th election falls within that window. That's why you would have to do it tonight if you want to avoid a special election. You could wait and do it later on, but when you did that, you would have to have a special election, which is around 150,000 percent. So if you want to get it to where if the people actually do get that petition and it happens on elections, you don't have to pay for June and July are the 2 months that you would have to pass it.
But we wouldn't have to do a referendum.
So you're going to pass it, you'll pass it, let's just say you're going to do $25. You pass it tonight, pass the county commission at the June meeting, pass it again next month, pass the July meeting. That means you set it there. Now, the public has 30 days to make you put it to referendum. But if they don't do it, then it's good to go. Yes.
It's not a majority for the 2 votes, it's 2/3. So we have to have 17.
I thought it was 2/3.
Yeah,
Two-thirds.
yeah, so it's okay, I just wanted to double check that. So, yeah.
Devil's advocate, we vote against the bond for the judicial complex, do we have the money to fund our employees?
I don't think we know yet.
Not without all the debt service.
Out of our general fund, do we have enough to go?
No, not out of the general fund, definitely.
I don't want to start moving PDs down.
I'm just asking questions.
So basically, we can't give the employees more money without raising taxes in some form.
You're gonna raise revenue.
Raise
in some
taxes.
sort.
So, Commissioner Hall, what we've done in the past, don't know that it happened. Aaron pointed out the last time we needed 6.9 million, was able to find it at budget time. Until we know what this number is, after we do the survey, and know what that number is it 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, 6 million? We don't know. That's what we've always done. We've waited to then to figure out what we're gonna do. But if you're gonna do the wheel tax, you'd have to act on it now.
Without costing extra money for a special election.
Yes, it's 150,000. So if that's what you wanted to go down,
And if I can add in, I know that looked at this pretty hard with the current pay plan, and we can't put people out on years of experience on the current pay plan because that's not how it was built.
Right.
We would have people, a supervisor or somebody in a management capacity making more than a department head, and that can't happen on this pay plan. But Aaron, I think, has run some figures. If we did do it on this pay plan, that, and Aaron, do you recall?
I was given some numbers. They looked at what we had talked about, Commissioner Kurtz, about if you were to take people and just slot them based on years of experience, nothing to do with time and job. You know, just that person's been here for 15 years, so they're going to 15. And the cost was right at 6 million.
So I'm pretty confident that it wouldn't be more than 6 million.
Yes.
That it would be less than 6 million because we wouldn't have a high-ranking person or a high supervisor with 15 years of experience making more than the department head. They would be making less on the new pay plan. So I think that would help adjust it. And I'm also opposed after Tommy kind of enlightened me just about debt service, and I would be opposed to flipping pennies out of that. I don't think that's a good idea. But I think that overall the employees would be satisfied. I would think that if Aaron can pull a rabbit out of the hat, he will do it. But if not, then it would be on us to look for a revenue fund for that. I was definitely looking for a will tax and a property tax.
Mayor, what would an additional $25 bring in?
3.5 million.
So it'd have to be bid.
You did, okay.
$3 million, 750.
But can you tie that to raises? I mean, that's a moving target. Your salaries. It's gonna be the same next year or the next year. You're still tagging with $25 and $50, whatever you're saying. I don't know.
So you're taking them, so let's just go down the scenario. If you did this, what you would do is that you'd go through these 2 months. You'd give the public the opportunity. You wouldn't collect until January.
You start in January.
So you'd have from January to June 30th to collect money to build the nest. And then you would start from there. But now, you're right, once you fund whatever that is, that goes for that fund, and that's coming in each year. It's coming in each year. And you're gonna gain some cars, yeah, so you'll gain a little revenue there.
But you don't get more employees.
But that pay that you're funding, it's gonna fund that. Now, your next raise, it will fund.
That's right.
Fund that.
That's right.
Yeah, so it's no different. I think what you're looking for is the money to fund the bump. You know, what is it?
You find that money.
Well, no, you're still, the way I envision this, and I hope it's the way it turns out. I hope at the end of it all, we still have a step plan. Because I think at the end of it all, if you don't have a step plan, you're taking a step backwards. But that's gonna be up to y'all.
Well, we have to find the money for the bump.
You gotta find the money.
No matter what, you gotta find it.
Once you get them into the proper slot, it's gonna be the exact same thing it is today. That the step that they're gonna take is gonna come off the top of growth.
So to fund that bump, it's gonna take a $75 wheel.
I don't know that, sir.
Or no.
I think that you got,
I have 50.
You get, so there's a couple of different moving pieces.
Another, my point was 50 plus 25, it's still.
You're not, yeah, it's miscommunication.
Yeah.
Yeah, but $50.
But until we settle on the structure, you know, there's another piece of this that we haven't even talked about yet, which is that the market has moved since, if you looked at the existing pay plan as it exists today, and you looked at the, I forget how many, 15 grades, or how many grades and 16 steps, that whole table has moved. So, you know, there's two different pieces of this. One is that what market is has moved. So that's going to have to be adjusted. Then you're going to have to put people into experience. So it's not a simple process, and that's why pay plans are not easy. Commissioner Kirk sat in my office one day. We had a long conversation about the pros and cons, goods and bads of you know, all kinds of different pay structures, and they're not simple. You know.
One thing that we are gonna do that I don't know how to do it, but I have HR in the bay today. I'd love to give them to him so he can work closer with them on this. Because I know there was one little miscommunication during budget time, but we're gonna go out and do something that we haven't done before. And that is find every employee that we got and say, how long have you been a captain? You might have been with me 30 years, but how long have you been a captain? So we want to know exactly how long have you been in that position. So we're gonna start that database ASAP as well. Now you give $100 a year for longevity, closest person to you is 75 in one other county, everybody else is 50 or less. If they're not able to do that, if you want to double that, you know, make that better for them, you can do that too, if you want to give people money for years experience. But we're gonna start that process. So we do anything to give her in.
Yeah, so we'll still have to do a resolution. We ain't gonna fix everything tonight.
Gotcha.
Let's do it next time.
Yeah, my bad.
It's not, I mean, well, I'm not being facetious.
Okay.
Let's put a little thought into how we want the resolution worded and all such as that. Because I got one tonight that's challenging, I got to do it. And then, seeing we're moving toward, assuming we're going to yield tax tonight. If so, I know how to do that.
Good.
Mr. Chairman, I won't belabor the point, but to address Commissioner Curtin's point about the wheel tax. I don't know how many of you live in other states with having a registered car. Most of them, your taxes are based on millage rates. You won't find any state in the top 50 that's got a cheaper license plate than Tennessee. And $75 will still be much cheaper than any other state.
I'd like to make a statement so everybody can hear this, and I'm a county employee, everybody knows that. But for the last several months, every time we meet, employees' compensation comes up. And we all agree that we need to address it, we've got to do something with it. We can talk about pay plans, we can do everything in the world. But if you don't generate revenue to fund it, that's wasted conversation. So we have to make a decision, are we willing to generate revenue to fund something? Or tell the employees we're not willing to do that. Let's put it on the line until they're making it. You're not gonna expect a lot more because we don't have the money. Or let's find some revenue, one to two.
There's been a lot of discussion this evening concerning wheel tax now. Is there a motion on the floor concerning wheel tax? I make a motion that we raise the wheel tax for $75 to assist. Do I need to say why? You do. I have to include them. How do I say it exactly? To assist.
You want an additional 50, really? Yeah. You just want 50.
Additional 50. I'm gonna fix it. The key thing is what you're gonna use it for, because that's what you locked into year after year after year. You can't change that.
For your employee compensation.
All county employee?
I'd say. Yes.
Well, what does that include?
That's why I asked. We had
Government employees, county employees, or does teachers fit into that? I mean, there's, teachers are being taken care of at this point in time. And so, I don't want to say something to muddy the water there.
At the risk of sounding like I'm not for teachers, I don't want anybody to think that. I would say to assist or whatever all employees other than school system personnel. That
County
covers
government,
Do something for them.
just saying, most county government employees, is the teachers are not county government employees. We're school board employees.
I think it needs to go towards all, that's teachers and all county employees. I feel like you just can't select a certain group and then leave out another thing. We're gonna do a tax increase or something.
Yes. They did all that, don't do teachers do.
When adjusted, we've already done that once by the tax increase.
Sales tax.
That only.
That's right. You're right, you're right, you're right.
That went strictly to the.
I
To the
stand,
raises.
you're right, I stand correct.
Good point to it.
Good point, yeah, you're right.
We did.
Can you word it like Commissioner Hall said, what it says county employees?
I will. I'm gonna word it any way y'all tell me to, but somebody will come along and say, I'm a county employee, I'm a janitor in the school system.
Yeah, Mike Owen, man.
So did you say county employees that follow the pay system?
Those are these last things.
I'm just trying to keep down
Conversation.
questions about it.
Well, let me ask this question to Blake, he's an employee of the school system, what's the heading on your check say?
Wilson County Board of Education.
Doesn't say Wilson County government like 96.
No. It's different if we're in Rutherford County.
You're not.
I will still say,
Whatever you
you've got
recommend.
people get paid out of different funds.
The more specific we can be, the better.
What fund do they get paid out of?
What if you obligate the funds to Wilson County government like?
Okay.
We're trying to get on the pipeline.
All right.
Get you some of that.
That's the people that we're trying to address.
That's probably a good word. Okay.
Because I hate to exclude.
So what you want one?
Yes, sir, it sounds good. So we got the motion, is there a second?
So,
A motion and a second, is there any discussion? Meeting member.
This goes to be voted on twice. Be able to be sent to the election office, correct?
We just voted on it twice. If you pass it twice, they have 30 days to come up and see.
Gotcha.
Okay. Today.
If it doesn't pass first time, you don't sit.
They got 30 days to get signatures after this.
Second vote.
Second.
Yeah.
But they can start getting signatures tonight if they want.
I would say this, if it fails, we have till August the 22nd to pass a resolution, send to her to ask her to put it on the referendum in November. I mean, that's, she said there's that option if you don't show that the money.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
I didn't hear everybody say aye, but I'm gonna tell you, if you didn't say no, you get ready for it.
That's why we
I
kept
mean,
our
if you're
mouths
opposed
shut.
to it, say so.
We know.
Bear instant.
Because I've had people come back to me and say, I didn't vote for it.
Yeah.
Say, no, you didn't vote against it either, and you didn't abstain. So that's the only option.
Is there anything else that needs to come up tonight?
Thanks for listening to me.
Well, well, I know, Mount Julie Costco over there,
You dropped so much money in it now.
expect to make $1 million more today.
$700,000. Man, I think check it.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, listen to this. This is what Mount Juliet expects to get every year. 3 million. And so our school system should be 3 million each year.
I have one location.
How's a man go down there, get a shirt,
I'll play outside here.
Or.
Most of it done. They come in, I'll try to get it.
Who made the motion?
They're gonna have to-